Hey Conrad, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and I'm going to show you how I cut prescription polarized lenses for your Rayban 40-57 color 601 in the 61 eye size. You have sent me your frame after you got it back from the dry cleaners out of your trench coat, and then I think you ran it through the car wash with your convertible top being down. But hey, let's see what we got here. Nonetheless, it's gonna work. Okay, your Rayban frame, your Rayban case, and your Rayban frame with a little bit of wrap. This thing is nice. So I'm gonna pop out your original glass lenses, your heavy glass lenses, and now I'm gonna cut lightweight unbreakable, if I can ever get yours out of there. And I always like to clean the inside of the frame that someone has been wearing, just in case there's any oil, sweats, anything like that that could be in there. And I'm going to trace just one lens because of the curvature, I don't know if it's going to fit into the machine. So the stylus is going to pop up and trace the shape of the right lens, and then I'm going to enter everything else in there. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everybody loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. When you buy a genuine, authentic Rayban frame, you will receive free single vision clear prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. But because this is your frame, Conrad, I gotta charge you for the lenses. So let's pull up the shape on there. I'm gonna measure the width of your frame real quick. And I'm getting 76, as I imagine. I'm sorry, 77. 77. I'm going to put your pupillary distance of 72. And these are polycarbonate lenses that I'm going to cut for your plastic frame. So I'm going to take one quick measurement here. Oh yeah, plenty of room, plenty of room. I'm going to take your right lens. I'm going to put it in my lensometer and spin the axis wheel to 5. So your prescription is -1, -150, so I'm going to put your prescription at -1, put your lens in and rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly. That is the outside of the lens, yes it is. Find the optical center, and then I'm going to put 3 dots on your lenses. Oh yeah, those are good, those are good. Let me add that last one, and that is the right lens. Let me do the same thing now for the left. Spin the axis wheel to 175. Your prescription is -75 -3 at 175. So I'm going to set the power drum at -75. Check your astigmatism at -3. Because Conrad, you got some crazy stigs. What you doing with such high astigmatism? What you been squinting at? Something tells me your right eye dominant and the left eye is just along for the ride, but we gonna fix that. We gonna have you seeing good. So this block I need to attach to your lens. Actually, this one's already got a sticker on it. Let me grab another one. Try that off. I'm gonna stick this to the lens while it is cutting, so I need a double-sided adhesive sticker, and wouldn't you know it, 3M, the same people who make Post-it notes, does that for me. So I'm gonna take one of them out. The black side is the sticky side. I'm gonna stick that onto the block, pull the tape away, get everything lined up. I'm looking in the crosshairs of a scope. I've got a vertical meridian and a horizontal one. The reason why I put those 3 dots on there is I've got to get that lined up on a straight line, and then the vertical meridian is going to go through your optical center. So let me get everything lined up and put a block on that lens. Now let me do the same thing for the left lens. I'm going to go ahead and use this one since there's a sticker already on it. Pull the tape away. Get everything lined up, because I cannot miss with your left eye. It has got to be dead on. It doesn't matter what the prescription is, I'm going to be dead on, but particularly with your prescription, Conrad, I'm extra dead on. So I put the lens into the chuck and hit start. The first thing that's going to happen, these calipers are going to come down. It's going to trace the back surface of the right side of your frame, which is at the right lens, starting with the concave, the rear surface, and then it's going to move over and trace the front surface of the lens. All the while measuring the thickness to know exactly where to place the bevel on the lens so it fits inside the frame. The actual cutting wheel, let me move that camera so you can see a little better. The cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. That's what's going to grind away your unbreakable polycarb material. And this wheel in the center with that channel, that is what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the frame. I will have to close the door in just a moment, but for now I just want you to see as your unbreakable polarized gray lens touches down onto the cutting wheel. Okay, and if you notice, check out the curvature of this lens. This is an 8 base lens to fit into your frame. The lenses that come in here are actually a 9 base, and you know what? Let me give you the full service. Let me grab my lens clock. It's called a lens clock, but in reality, it's actually called the Geneva lens clock. And this allows me to measure the curvature of just about anything. And when I set it on something flat, it will read 0. And so your lenses are reading a 9. That black number on the inside, don't look about the red on the outside, but that is a 9. So what do I do with your other lens? There it is. I always like to go down one, so I'm at 7.5 curvature. That's just going to flatten things out for you. You'd never guess that this thing would sell for $100 used and a couple hundred brand new. And no one ever uses these things anymore, but hey, I do it. I use them. So your lenses are the unbreakable polycarb. They're also 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're also bulletproof up to 22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection built into them. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. They're also polarized, which, hey, I can demonstrate. Check this out. The way you can always tell if the lenses are polarized is if you take 2 lenses, and I can hold them whichever way. In fact, let's have them like that because that's how they come out of your frame. When they pass in front of each other, you can still see through the lenses. But you hear the term polar opposites. When you turn them at 90 degrees, they block all light. That's how you can always tell if a lens is polarized. If you have one polarized lens, you can always test to see if another one is. So that's the cool trick there. Polarized just reduces that much more glare. The same way you can skip a stone off of water. Light hits a flat surface and reflects back up, primarily off of water, but off of roads, off of bumpers, off of cars, off of windshields. This is just, you know, the convertible with the leather seats. If you're going to have sunglasses and you really want to treat yourself, get the polarized option. It runs $60 more if you're buying frames from me. It costs $99 if I'm just doing it for your frame, which I'm doing for Conrad, who I feel I practically know since I've done about 160 pairs so far for his cousin Manny and his other cousin Chris, which is Manny's brother. I think I'm getting my story right. Sometimes I'm just cutting for too many people. I think you're related to them. Ooh, peel off a giblet there. I like doing that. So I'm going to take your lens out. I'm going to dry everything off. Now you still have some rough edges left over from the cutting cycle, so I'm going to use my hand stone, which is completely flat and just works on friction. But that friction will melt any of those rough edges off. And I just trimmed my thumbnail today, so it's harder for me to scrape all this stuff off. Let's see if I can do it left-handed. There we go. This costs extra if I have to do it left-handed. All right, I'm going to cut your break and go back to my right hand. I'm going to scrape all that off your lens. Man, it just won't scrape off. Let me use my PD stick. This is what an old-timer does, which I've never tried to do, but I might have to do it today. Let's scrape that off. Okay, now let's go ahead and get that mounted. But hey, if you've seen my videos, you know I got to collect all this on the counter first. Let's scrape off your lens and then wipe it on the floor. There we go. There we go. That never gets old. So let's see if this fits. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, push down at the nose, and it snaps in perfectly. I'm just going to test, give it a little flex, make sure it does not pop out. No, that's cut perfectly. So let's do the same thing now for your left lens. I'm going to put that in, flip that over to left, and hit start. Get my finger out of there. And just like before, the calipers are going to come down. Come on, calipers. And it's going to trace the left side of your frame this time to make sure the lens is large enough to fit. All the while measuring the thickness to know exactly where to place the bevel. Boy, that thing barely does fit. Look how close it was to the edge. My lab did the math, at least their computer at the lab did, to see what size lens I would need. And as soon as this starts cutting, I'm going to continue to work on your right lens. And go! Alright, so let's take this block off. It is no longer needed. And peel that off. Where is the cleaning cloth there? I'm just going to dry everything off. I'm going to keep that red dot that I just smeared. So let me grab my pen. Darken that since I didn't remove it all, and I'm going to put the lensometer back to 5, put the lens in just at that red dot, test, and I'm reading -1 1/4. No, actually -1, yes, -1, and I'm getting 275 because you have 1.5 diopters of astigmatism. The way this works, the way prescriptions work, they go in quarter increments, starting at 0 and go 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1. So you're actually, your right eye reads -1, -150 at 5. You need 4 steps of far-sighted correction in order to see. Without your glasses on, things are actually much larger in real life than they really appear. So you need 4 steps there. You need 6 steps of astigmatism correction. And most of your prescription is astigmatic, as we call it. This first number makes everything the correct size. The second number is what takes away fuzzy edges. Astigmatism is what makes 6s and 8s look alike, the letters P and F look alike. So you actually need, let's see, 4 steps there and 6. You need 10 steps of correction overall. And astigmatism is the fine-tune knob. This last number 5, which could be anywhere from 0 to 180, just tells us where to turn that knob to make everything nice and crisp. Now your left eye, -75, -3 at 175. So you only need 3 steps of correction to get everything the correct size, but you need an additional 12 steps to take away those fuzzy edges and make everything nice and crisp. So the reason why I was getting -250 on the lensometer, which is exactly halfway between 2 and 3, if someone owed you $1 and then they borrowed $1.50 more, they would owe you a total of $2.50. Same thing for your left eye. You have -75 and -3. Come on, let's go back to high school algebra. When you have 2 minuses, you add them together, that will give you -375 total power. If you notice, your lens is still completely flat. Now it's going to move over and get the bevel put on there. Check out the curvature of that lens. Most eyeglass lenses are flat. Check out the curvature of that as it's going around. Pick some of this stuff off. There we go. So the water jets have kicked in, which means we have less than 20 seconds to go. And we'll pop it out and see if it fits. Take your lens out, we're going to dry it off. Back to the handstone real quick. Scrape all that off the edge of your lens. Now with your prescription, the reason why they don't do a lot of wrap, and especially with prescriptions, you start to get some distortion at the edges. But don't you worry, your best vision's and that's always been the case with your glasses. Your best vision is always through the center of the lens. Once you start looking at the outside edges, it's a different prescription. You have a different thickness, and that's why you just won't see as well. So you'll need to point your nose at whatever you're looking at, but you've been doing that your whole life, so this is nothing new. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, then using my thumbs I press down at the nose and it snaps in perfectly. So let me go ahead and take this block off, pull the sticker off. Is that red dot still there? Yes it is. So I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 175, put it in over that red dot, read the prescription. Oh, we are dead on. I'm reading -1. Actually, hang on. Sunglass lens is a little bit trickier. It is a -75. Check that. And we're ending up with a total power of -375. One tick mark away from 4. So that is cut perfectly. Your PD is 72. So I'm going to hold this up to the light. Hopefully you can see those red dots. I'm going to put the 0 on the right lens. Turn this over and we're reading 72 right there. So that is cut perfectly too. The last thing I want to do is make sure it's in standard alignment. Yes it is. Of course these are your glasses. You may need to get them adjusted, but you know 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments. So if these never fit perfect, or they're a little loose or a little crooked, because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other, and I'm no different. When I take mine off, mine wobble on the counter. So you may have to stop by your local place and have these adjusted, and they can do it for you in roughly under a minute's time. So that's that. I'm gonna get these back to you in the mail. And actually, hang on, I'm gonna test this to make sure these are polarized. I'm gonna take one more polarized lens. You can see through them now. That blocks all the light, so we know that's polarized. Let me do the same thing with this lens. You can see through it with both lenses in the same meridian. I rotate it and everything goes pitch black, so these are polarized also. I've taken out your G15 lenses and put in gray. So that's going to look great in your frame. If anyone out there has any questions about what I can and can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Conrad, I hope you enjoyed watching as I cut gray polarized prescription lenses for your Rayban 4047 in the color 601. And everyone else, as always,